All right, all right. All right, guys. So this is going to be a today's topic video. It is going to be for the first of the year. So January 1. Now I'm recording this before that because everyone's in different time zones. I always put these out in advance. It should have come out at midnight though, but I was busy. We partied until 3 a.m. It's been a wild and woolly time. So anyway, I hope everybody is closing out this year and doing it in style and having a great time. Just FYI, today as I'm recording this is the 31st of December. So it is my last day of this year. And I will be going live at some point today and doing free reads for subscribers. So keep your notification bells turned on. I will see you guys at some point, but now let's go ahead and jump on in. Oh, and by the way, in the video that I post tomorrow night, so the one that'll technically be for the 3rd, today's topic that'll be for the 3rd, that's where I will be doing the final free storytelling for whomever our winner was. Okay, so let's go ahead. And by the way, I should also mention that from here on out, historically on this channel, I have always done a free storytelling for one subscriber each week in this series. I'm not doing that anymore after this because instead on my other channel, I pick a winner every single day. So if you didn't know about that, now you do. It's called Tarot Dog, Regretless Life with Aries. There is a free link to that channel in the description box. You can bounce on over there. I've already posted the reading for the first over there. We do collective reads there, so they're very different. But in any case, you can pop over there and check that out. It's a fun channel. It's different than this one. All right, let us begin. So what is the message for the first of the year? We have Aquarius. That's actually so perfect, right? Aquarius is associated with eras in humankind, not like necessarily the individual, but the big sweeping energies. And of course, we can talk about the age of Aquarius. In fact, we did a storytelling about the age of Aquarius over on my other channel. So you might want to check that out. You'll have to scan through because it was somewhere in the month of December, but I don't remember what date that one came out. But that was thanks to a suggestion, I think by Dawn Divine. Anyway, we have Aquarius here, which is the energy of freedom, loving, rebellious, idealistic, and technological. How spot on is that for where we are and where we're going? This is such an awesome intro. Great card to start with. Leah D, thank you, Angel. You are always so incredibly generous. Thank you, honey. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. Happy New Year, all. All right. So if this storyline is starting out with the age of Aquarius, and it's all about a new, I'll say it like a paradigm shift. There's a lot to lean into here. There's a lot to look at. Freedom loving, rebellious, but idealistic, technological. I would add to that also perhaps more humanitarian, perhaps more egalitarian, having the concept of the whole and looking at where we're going as a mass, as a group, in a very positive leaning direction. So we'll keep all that in mind as we begin this story. Really, we got higher self and we've got perspective. How perfect. So this is actually it's the Hanged Man in any other deck, but in this one they call it the perspective. And instead of someone being like in stasis, normally the Hanged Man is shown hanging upside down with his leg, tangled up, and he's not unhappy, he's just delaying. He could at any point in time get himself out of that predicament, but he's not. He's kind of looking at the world through a different lens, but he's upside down. This is a nice different way to see it because all of this says our characters are looking at their own life, their own behaviors from a higher perspective, and they're looking at the world from a higher perspective. You know what I really think? This is so necessary and so needed right now. Even here, we see all these people that are like partying, but they're looking at the globe from a distance. It's as if instead of getting embroiled in the ridiculous squabbles, it seems like everywhere you look, there's some stupid argument going on that just wastes time and just makes people appear petty and brings out the worst, right? Anger and frustrations and, everyone's, we get these topics that get circulating and then everybody's got these opinions and then it's just a big distraction from really the art of living, and I feel like collectively what we're seeing is people are going to reject the stupid squabbles and look at the higher perspective, which is we're all citizens of the planet living on this rock together. So screw our differences. I mean, differences are great when it makes us unique and gives us, more richness to share with each other because we have different ideas and different cultural aspects. But there's a unifying thing that's stronger than anything, which is we're all living creatures. And maybe that's going to be expanded, and our characters are going to be looking at it like literally all living creatures are a part of this thing that we call life. It's not even just restricted to, us humans. So it's a very nice sense of consciousness that is taking over. And I think it's going to allow our characters, and I say characters this time because this feels like very much a collective read, but I feel like our characters are going to be looking at life from like, seriously, do I want to get all nitpicky over that person that just cut me off on the road? Do I want to get, mad about, the minutia, or do I want to let the little minutia go and look at the bigger picture? Am I still going to get to where I need to go driving down this road, even if somebody did cut me off? Yeah, well then let me just focus on my journey, and not the little annoying things along the way. If I'm out having a beautiful picnic, but oh man, there's ants. Does it ruin the picnic, or is it just like, oh, look at that, those ants want a piece of food too? We just kind of start to see characters accepting like all living things are trying to do their art of living as well. And I think this is a little bit of letting bygones be bygones, letting things be what they are without trying to manage, control, demand, impose our will on other things or other people. I think that's a lovely energy, and it's going to make life flow a lot better. It's less about the individual, and it's more about the higher self and the higher sense of, collectiveness. We've got the Spirit of Wands in the reverse, the Spirit of Cups in the reverse, and the Ace of Swords in the reverse. There's a lot of instead of constantly trying to understand the karmic energies, the cycles that we had trouble breaking away from, or trying to understand other people's karmic cycles, like why is someone arrogant? Why do they want, to be seen? Okay, let me put it this way. On my channel, probably everyone will notice I don't use the word narcissist. I avoid it like the plague because I'm not here to try to label and diagnose my fictional characters. I also don't like how popular things become, and then everyone gets the same label. And so I avoid that and just try to give my characters a chance to be individuals, not paint them with broad strokes, but look at an individual character. That is one of those things I consciously try to do, to be fair to my characters, instead of instantly saying, I'm looking for how I can label something. That I think is good for all of our characters involved, in the sense that our other character, who could be dealing with someone who's displaying less than favorable traits and qualities, is no longer trying to walk around with a clipboard and check off the 10 things that make them this or the 11 things that make them that, and instead just kind of observe the behavior, identify, do I like that, do I not, and say, you know what, I'm either going to tolerate it or I'm not, instead of trying to focus on that person and whatever karmic cycle they're in, and that person, whatever negative thing they're doing. I always have tried anyway in my storytelling to keep at the forefront of my mind as a storyteller. Let's let a character observe and try to like make their own decisions in regards to what they're experiencing somewhere else, especially if it's distasteful, instead of trying to categorize it and put a label on it. And I think I hope it doesn't sound contradictory, but the energy moving into the new year is more focus on the higher perspective and less focus on trying to figure out what's wrong with someone. Why do they do this? Or let me see how many of those negative traits does a character display. Let me look at them and their faults, and why are they stuck? Or even, why am I stuck on, why did I do this? Why did I tolerate this? Was I in a karmic cycle? And instead just saying, not everything has to be this conflict doesn't have to be the main focus. Why? Because we're above that. The conflict exists, yes. Do we need to give energy to the conflict? Do we need to give energy to where the problem is? Or do we need to give energy to the art of living, the looking toward freedom, looking toward the better, looking toward, creativity, looking toward things? This is almost like we can rise above the karmic cycles and say the karmic cycles are the lessons that we're not learning, but maybe sometimes we don't learn the lessons because we're too busy focusing on the details of, well, that was wrong and this person was rude to me and that hurt me, and they aren't loving enough and they need to get to be more loving and they need to, when maybe it's more like, I don't know why they do that. I hope they figure that out. Okay, so anyway, back to my life. I'm going to try to keep pursuing the things that are more important, pursuing my hobbies, pursuing, greater expanses of knowledge for myself, and, maybe sharing knowledge. Maybe instead of having conversations about upsetting behaviors of someone else, maybe I'll instead have conversations with strangers about, I don't know, how do hot air balloons, how does that really work? Like, I don't really know how hot air balloon works. You know that? I mean, yeah, I know there's a big fire thing and there's hot air in it, but I still don't fully comprehend that. Like, what is the gaseous exchange going on there? Those are better things to contemplate maybe than the hot air that comes out of somebody's mouth who's maybe struggling anyway. So it just looks like this is not leaving behind compassion. This is not ceasing to try to comprehend someone's behavior or our own, but it is ceasing to focus on only the negative attributes so we can put a label on it, categorize it, put it in a box and say, shame, shame, shame. That's what's wrong. That's what's broken. You need to go fix it. Or I'm broken. I need to fix it. And it's more like, why don't I focus on developing awesome ideas? That's the energy of this next year, which I think is such a welcome relief. I don't know. To me, that looks like a really welcome relief. Anyway, maybe it's just because this seems like it's going to get our characters to go further, right? We got an Eight of Pentacles in the reverse, and it actually seems effortless now. Instead of this being a year like 2024, maybe a year where it's less about like, okay, this is my belief system. This is what I'm loyal to. I'm going to, hunker down and I'm going to defend, and I'm going to keep working on my defense tactics, and I'm going to keep working on and grinding away. And it has to be like, my belief has to be something that I have to fight for every day. And, whatever it is that I'm going to do, it's going to be hard work. This is like, screw that. Why does it all have to be hard? Why can't life be more of an enjoyable thing where it's like, yeah, we're going to experience the whole realm of human emotions, and some's going to be sucky and some's going to be amazing. But honestly, this is kind of a year for wonder. It's a year where it's like, I don't have time to defend, the minutia. Instead, maybe I'm open to hearing what other people have to say. And even if I don't agree with it, I'll still hear it and be like, well, that was interesting. I don't know. And instead of instantly passing judgment and being like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. This is like such a chill attitude. I feel like that song, I think it's John Legend who sang it, and I think it's Get High With Me. It's only like 2.5 minutes long, but it's like this really, it sounds like somebody's just like floating along in a hot air balloon. And that is like so going through my head right now. This feels so much more calm and so much less reactionary, and so much less if in 2023 it was about like the focus and the intention, 2024 is like the broadened viewpoint. Not so broad that our brain falls out, right? Our characters still going to have their opinions. They're still going to be looking for information that will help guide them through thought processes. But let's look at it like this. Good science, I would argue, is where they come up with ideas that they themselves then try to disprove because they're looking for truth. So they don't look at experiments as having failed because they don't have, or they're not supposed to have, an agenda of ego where they want to prove this is how it is because I want to be right. It's more like, I would love to know what's accurate. So let me try very hard to come up with an idea, and then I'm so interested in it. Let's test that. It doesn't become a battle of, am I a good scientist? Can I prove what I said? that concept, if the ego is too involved, it's probably not going to be a very easy road, because somebody's always going to feel pressured and they're always going to feel the need to be right, instead of just the enjoyment of the process of trying to discover something new. And that's the energy of this next year. I get to discover things about myself. I get to discover things about, others I interact with. I get to take into account other perspectives and evaluate without the need to be right. But I get to evaluate, what do I think about that? What did that add to my consciousness? What did that add to the value of my life? Did it inspire me? What way did it inspire me? Instead of like, how did this make me mad and why are they wrong? Like, that's the shift, which I think is going to be such a huge benefit. We have a high priestess, we have the Ace of Cups, we have the Fool, and we have the Empress. This is like collectively, everyone is shifting into full-blown Empress energy, which is super nurturing, super it's like nurturing oneself, it's nurturing others, it's being unafraid to also, extend that kindness, but doing it wisely, not being a doormat, not being an enabler, not giving everyone a piggyback ride, not feeling used, not feeling drained, but rather saying, oh yeah, I'm really comfortable encouraging others. And if it's not going well, then I can, use that tough love that a mother can give as well, which is to be like, oh, well, no, I don't think that that's how we'll be doing things. There's boundaries. And then we just move on. Put up a boundary and move on. There's no need to languish in the unhappiness and the, like, I've got to train someone better. This is just more like, I can be comfortable knowing I'm going to nurture the things in my world that I personally can give attention to. And if something is not a part of my world or doesn't choose to be, I can also release that and say, all right, they're striking out on their own. And that can be in romance, that can be in anything in life. Some things are meant for us, some things are not, some things we want to give to, and then we still just let it go. Every mother or father has a little person or a little creature that they're nurturing, but that little creature still has their own right to be their own autonomous little souls at some point, once they can feed themselves and attend to things as adults. But no parent, even though they may have created that child, has any right to demand that they get to tell the child how they can live, who they can love, where they can live, how their life has to be. That's not how that works. We create something, but then we let it go, let it become what it wants to. And I feel like there's this profound understanding that life is going to be so much easier, and there's going to be so much more love, so much more peace, and so much reciprocated energy when a character can openly say, you know what, maybe I do fall in love with someone, and I know that I'm choosing to give them my love. But I also won't hold on too tight. If they don't want to be with me, that's okay. I'm still going to be glad I gave them that love. I'm not going to regret anything. And truly being comfortable with that, instead of being in a place of need and a place of feeling like, oh, I've messed up. I gave my love to someone who didn't give it back. I must be a failure. There's none of that energy moving into this next year. It's such a much better, there's no self-loathing. There's no self-loathing in the next year for our characters. That's what I love. It's about being comfortable having given love. It's about being comfortable knowing that we can also still put up a boundary and not overgive, and not having to feel like we made some epic mistake just because we love somebody who may or may not have been able to give back in return. Also, there's no self-loathing for our own errors in judgment that we still have, we'll probably continue to make sometimes. I really like this whole topic. It's so, it feels like all of this stress is just gone. And it's just like, wait a second, you mean life doesn't have to be that hard? No, it doesn't have to be looking for what's wrong so then it can all be fixed, and assuming that everything is broken and everything is trash and everything, or if we make a mistake, then we have to, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I just made a mistake. I loved the wrong person. Oh my God, let me overthink this and let me think what's wrong with me and let me feel freaked out that, I shouldn't have done that. It's kind of like, it's not like we don't still have a conscience or guilt if we make a mistake. It's just that there's a lot less of focus on wrongdoing and broken things that have to be fixed, and a lot more focus on, if we're trying to live through the guidance of our higher self and be kinder to ourselves and to others, and not assume that everything is instantly going to be a problem, or that we've got to find the problem and then be like, see, I knew those red flags were going to be there because I'm looking for them all the time. This just feels a lot more just accepting of meeting people where they're at, and just kind of shrugging and going, well, it is what it is. Some things are not going to fit with me, and that's okay too. Maybe I'm not ready for it. That's okay too. Maybe they're great and I've got some stuff that I'm still working through. That's okay too. I'll just keep doing that. I'll accept it as it is, instead of making it like this life altering, you know, shameful experience. I guess that's maybe what I'm getting at with this. It feels so much more relaxed. This is probably the best message I've seen come out in a long time. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you guys in the next ones. We shall see if we get a shift in storytelling styles. I have no idea. I never know what's coming out in the stories, and I don't imagine that anything changes on a dime. This is just one concept, and I always think that we kind of flip through modes of the day. We see our characters who can go through all of the experiences of human, like being jealous, being loving, being sad, and also still wanting the thing that makes them sad. We see all of that in the range of all the stories that I have. So I don't imagine that just because we got an amazing story that kind of sets a paradigm shift for this next year, that's going to be consistent. How could it be, right? We have moments, our emotions aren't consistent from one day to the next. We have moments where we're sad, moments where we're happy, all in the span of 5 minutes. We can go through that range. So I doubt that it'll be a paradigm shift consistently, but I do hope that that factors in more overall in this next year's storytelling styles, but we shall see. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. I wish you all a very happy new year. I'll be putting out some other stories today, and then I'll be going live today also and doing free 1-card pulls for subscribers, just like whatever the message is for I think I'll go with the message for next year, I think, is what I'd like to do, because I'm about to do a bonus message right now where I'm going to ask what was the takeaway message that the universe wanted everyone to get for 2023, and for whatever characters we're talking about. So we'll go to that one next. Mwah. Lots of love, you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.